Coming up on 5 Minute News. Donald Trump arrested on federal charges he tried to overturn the election. Poll says half of Republicans could spurn Trump if he is convicted. And climate crisis made July hotter for every human on Earth. It's Friday, August 4. I'm Anthony Davis. The disgraced former president pleaded not guilty on Thursday to trying to overturn the results of his 2020 presidential election loss, answering for the first time to federal charges that accuse him of orchestrating a brazen and ultimately failed attempt to block the peaceful transfer of presidential power. Trump appeared before a magistrate judge in Washington's federal courthouse 2 days after being indicted on 4 felony counts by Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith. The charges accuse him of trying to subvert the will of the voters and undo his election loss in the days before January 6, 2021, when supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol in a violent and bloody clash with law enforcement. Trump, the 2024 presidential primary frontrunner for the Republican Party, is facing charges including conspiracy to defraud the United States and obstruct Congress's certification of Democrat Joe Biden's victory. His appearance on Thursday and the rest of the court case will unfold in a courthouse in clear view of the Capitol and in a building where more than 1,000 of the Capitol rioters have been charged. The case is part of an ongoing set of escalating legal troubles for the ex-president, coming nearly 2 months after Trump pleaded not guilty to dozens of federal felony counts, accusing him of hoarding classified documents and thwarting government efforts to retrieve them. Smith himself was in the courtroom and sat in the front row behind the prosecutors handling the case. 3 police officers who defended the Capitol that day were also seen entering the courthouse. The indictment from Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith charges Trump with 4 felony counts related to his efforts to undo his presidential election loss, including conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. The charges could lead to a years-long prison sentence in the event of a conviction. About half of Republicans would not vote for Donald Trump if he were convicted of a felony, a sign of the severe risks his legal problems pose for his 2024 U.S. presidential bid, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll that closed on Thursday. The 2-day Reuters Ipsos poll asked respondents if they would vote for Trump for president next year if he were convicted of a felony crime by a jury. Among Republicans, 45% said they would not vote for him, more than the 35% who said they would. The rest said they didn't know. Asked if they would vote for Trump if he were currently serving time in prison, 52% of Republicans said they would not, compared to 28% who said they would. Trump has proclaimed his innocence in all the cases against him and falsely accuses prosecutors of conducting a witch hunt that aims to derail his campaign. The new poll showed that Republicans broadly sympathize with Trump's accusations of political persecution. 75% of Republican respondents agreed with a statement that the charges against Trump were politically motivated. 20% disagreed, and the rest said they didn't know. About 2/3 of Republicans, 66%, described as not believable the accusation in Trump's latest indictment that he solicited election fraud. 29% said it was believable and the rest were not sure. Republican respondents also described themselves as more likely to withhold their votes on Election Day from an unnamed convicted felon than one named Donald Trump. When asked how a felony conviction would affect their voting in an abstract sense, 71% of Republicans said they would not vote for the convict, compared to 52% if it were Trump. Human-caused global warming made July hotter for 4 out of 5 people on Earth, with more than 2 billion people feeling climate change-boosted warmth daily, according to a flash study. More than 6.5 billion people, or 81% of the world's population, sweated through at least one day where climate change had a significant effect on the average daily temperature, according to a new report issued by Climate Central, a science non-profit that has figured a way to calculate how much climate change has affected daily weather. "We are really experiencing climate change just about everywhere," said Climate Central Vice President for Science Andrew Pershing. Researchers looked at 4,711 cities and found climate change fingerprints in 4,019 of them for July, which other scientists said is the hottest month on record. The new study calculated that the burning of coal, oil, and natural gas made it 3 times more likely to be hotter on at least one day in those cities. In the US, where the climate effect was largest in Florida, more than 244 million people felt greater heat due to climate change during July. For 2 billion people in a mostly tropical belt across the globe, climate change has made it 3 times more likely to be hotter every single day of July. The day with the most widespread climate change effect was July 10, when 3.5 billion people experienced extreme heat that had global warming's fingerprints, according to the report. In the United States, 22 cities had at least 20 days when climate change tripled the likelihood of extra heat, including Miami, Houston, Phoenix, Tampa, Las Vegas, and Austin. 5-Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health, and climate, delivering independent, unbiased, and essential world news daily.